What's going on, you beautiful rejects? Welcome back to Rejection and Reflection. And if you haven't been here yet, then it's good to see you for the first time, even though I can't really see you, but I can feel you, I promise. Today, I have my girlfriend. Not really, but my pretend girlfriend. I call her my girlfriend because if I were to have a girlfriend, she probably would be my girlfriend because even before we just talked, I'm like, yeah, she would be my girlfriend. We have a lot in common. She's one of the most incredibly beautiful people inside and out and talented, I must say. Jamie Ruiz! Lee, I forgot the Lee. Woo-hoo!
Hi, hello, boyfriend. How are you?
Well, I haven't seen you in probably over a decade, girlfriend, but it's good to see you.
The love is still there.
Yes, it will never leave. It will never leave. How did we first meet? Do you remember? Was it Pussycat Doll stuff?
Yeah, it was. I was performing at the Pussycat Dolls Lounge in LA at the Viper Room, and you were one of our sailor boys, I believe.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. Those were the days that were so much fun.
it was so much fun.
Just a little burlesque show, just and all we had to do was like yell and scream about how hot you girls were, and it was just so easy to do it because you guys were. And it was like, it was that such a fun job to do? Like, did you feel like you were able to be like your most like feminine, empowered self when you do that kind of stuff?
Totally. But also, like, I think about it now and I'm like, I wish I could do that as this version of myself who's like so like tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and like healed so much, I probably would like experience it at a whole other level.
Well, you still can.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe you should start it back up or do something similar and
Similar.
play into that space. It's funny because at this age, I'm probably going to go in circles now, but you got me going to a certain space. But I feel like at the age I'm at too, it's kind of like, I kind of want to dance again, like and move again in that space and like embody that type of energy and that feeling from where I am today. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Class is fun though. Do you ever take class?
Sorry, say that again.
You take dance class?
I tell myself that I'm going to, and I put it in my calendar. Like if I'll see a friend and going to teach class, I'm like, put in my calendar this day, this time. And that day I'm like, I'm just so busy or I'm so tired. And I just never go. I really should. And I want to, but I just don't.
I mean, look, hey, I do it like once or twice a year. So it's not like I'm really avid on that either, but it does feel good. It is fun. It's a nice reminder of like the beautiful blessings that we were bestowed by the universe to be able to move our body and speak with it, like as a language. But it'd be fun to speak in this language a little more where my body is, right? If it will, if it'll even move that much. That's the other thing. The thought of kicking my leg is like hamstring, dead for life.
No, the recovery is just, it's different in your 30s. It's different.
Whole different world. Well, beyond just meeting there at the Pussycat Dolls, you were also so gracious and giving and kind to help me out so much with my music endeavors back then. You were even in the group that the group had many different versions of it. Yeah. It tapped into many different places, but I had a group called Missing Juliet and yes. Yeah. It was fun. I still don't. I'm like, how did that not blow the fuck up? I guess I just didn't. Everyone was so hot and so talented, and I'm like, how did this not work? I guess a lot of people might think that about themselves and their endeavors. It was so fun.
We would record in like a closet or something.
Literally. And it's funny because I feel like timing is life and how do I say this? I haven't eaten yet, so if I'm slow today, everybody, I apologize. I have not eaten, and it's over past noon, so I'm a little slow. That steak from last night is not still in my system, obviously. Um, as I think about it now, it's like the timing back then was so different. Like you were, I don't know if you were too, but like creating these bootleg $1,000 music videos and like recording in your closet. And back then, that was like, you're never going to get seen or like, be successful. Now that's all they do. That's how all these influencers are blowing up. I'm like, you know what, universe? This is how I know I need to trust the process because if I was meant to be in that space, I would have been born in this generation or vice versa. It's like that, the context, the perspective of it all.
Totally. I feel like there's so many things that I want to do and I stop myself because like I don't have the perfect setup or like starting a podcast, for example. It's one of my things I want to do, but I'm like, I don't have the right equipment or the right backdrop or room or whatever. So then I stop myself from doing it. And there's people whose podcasts have like blown up and they're doing it from like their bed on their iPhone. And I'm just like, it's my generation's like thought process though of like it has to be this thing, and I need to tap into like these, what are they called, like Gen Zs that just like do shit and it pops off.
100%. I love you're aware of it, so I expect you to release something by like next week or
Perfect.
not like dance class. Don't put it in your calendar and not do it. What do you want to do a podcast about?
Just like everything that I teach and that my online coaching business is about, like all things spirituality, self-love, mindset, manifestation, energetics, healing, which is like all the things.
What got you into that?
You ready for the story?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure rejection and reflection, I'm sure it was some type of rejection that got you here to reflect on it and bring you to this.
Totally.
Lord.
It's funny that you say that, because I wouldn't have said that it was like a rejection that got me here. But if I'm telling my story from the perspective of what the rejection was, then yeah, like I low-key was rejected by God, the God that I had known and the God that I had a relationship with for so long. So I was a Christian girl. I grew up going to private school since I was 3 years old, and I had this relationship with God, with Jesus, like for so much of my life. Like I was such like a good little like Christian girl. I have 3 older sisters. They used to like bribe me to say bad words, and they'd be like, "I'll pay you $20 if you say the S word." And I would run to my parents, and be like, "Mom, my sisters are trying to get me to say bad words." Like I was a little Jesus freak, right? Goody two shoe girl. And I just like had this relationship with God for a long time, and I would go to church. And when I was 27, like almost 11 years ago now, my dad passed away. It was unexpected. He had a heart attack. And that was the moment where I felt like, okay, God, need ya big time here. I don't know what's happening. This is crazy. This is difficult. This is so sad. Like, I need some love and support. And that God, that relationship that I had with God for so long, like I didn't hear him and I didn't feel him. And it kind of, now that I'm thinking about it in the perspective of rejection, kind of felt like rejection, where he was like, and I'm out. Like, okay, great. Isn't this where you're supposed to show up the most for me? Like, I've been loyal all this time. Please help, And he was like, or at least that relationship and that perspective that I had with him was gonzo. And I say this all the time, but like my father's death almost was like the thing that sparked me to really start living my life, because that going through that led me to so many questions and like reaching for something to connect to, because what I had connected to before was not there, or at least I didn't feel it. And I just wanted to connect to something. And it left me with so many questions. And I found myself like Googling like how to feel connected, or how to heal or find happiness. Like I literally was online just like looking for, I didn't know it at the time, but like mindfulness and self-love and happiness, and just looking for something, because like I didn't have that anymore. And that led me to mindfulness and finding a lot of things about meditation. And interestingly enough, so I started like meditating and sitting with myself. And interestingly enough, this memory popped up about my dad, where I remember him when I was younger. I remember going into his room and seeing him on his bed, leaned up against the headboard with his eyes closed. And I would be like, "What are you doing?" And he'd be like, "I'm meditating, like go away, like give me some time." And I'd be like, "All right, weirdo, on with my life." So he passes away. I have nothing to connect to. I reach looking for something to connect to. I stumble upon meditation. I start meditating. I have these memories of my dad meditating. I'm like, what the F? Whoa. And that just spiraled me into all things mindfulness, meditation, self-love, manifestation, the universe, spirituality. And here we are.
Incredible. Beautiful. I mean, the way that you were able to just be in tune with the synchronization of all of it. Was your dad, two questions. Hopefully we'll remember them both. Was your dad a Christian like you, or was he his own type of spiritually meditating kind of situation?
Well, we actually grew up Catholic. My family was Catholic, but then my parents put me in a Christian school, and
Oh,
then so then I was like Catholic with my family, but I was learning about like being Baptist and Christian at school, and then I went to high school and I went to church with Christian friends, so it was a weird thing. But yeah, my dad was Catholic, our family was Catholic, but I think he was like a closet spiritual person, a closet universe person, but I don't think that it was like widely accepted or common then. But my mom now tells me stories about my dad, how he was like super into mindset and super into like holistic like supplements and mushrooms and like all these things. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I wish I would have known like this part of him, but it's almost like he passed it on to me.
it feels that way. You took the words out of my mouth. It feels like, that generation, they weren't equipped with like the modalities and the tools to even communicate that with us, because the amount of guilt and programming that they had was, they probably felt guilty for that in some sense. So you don't want to take you away from what was right in that spiritual context of it being organized religion. But as you say that, it's so interesting on the timing that he would pass and that you wouldn't hear that voice of God that you usually leaned on, and that he would just keep pushing you in the direction to like tell you as if he were still here about these stories and stuff. I'm getting emotional because I mean, yeah, like I probably would the rest of my life wish that I would have known that about my dad too. But it's so beautiful knowing that he's still teaching you that from wherever he might be.
1000%. He is like very much on my spirit team, and like I go to him all the time too. And I'm like, "Ugh, please help me with this." So it's like where maybe before I used to be like, God, now I'm like, Dad, spirit team, universe, source. I'm like, what's up? And I feel so much more connected to God now than I ever did before when it was like through religion. Um, yeah, it's just so cool and so interesting how the perspective can shift and the relationship can shift.
Well, because it sounds like you have a personal relationship with like the divine, the universe, your ancestors, God,
Mhm.
creation. A lot of, I'm not throwing shade to any of you religious people, live your best life. I full heartedly have come to this place, and it took so long to think that we are exactly who we are supposed to be. Wherever we find that spirituality, where we don't find it, whatever that looks like, that's in tune for our own personal growth and our own journey. That's why we are all here. Um,
Mhm. I agree.
and I grew up like you. I grew up Catholic, so I was always into good, just like you too. Like I was perfect. Well, I was raised as an only child, so I kind of felt like that pressure to be the protector of my mother and represent that.
Mhm.
Um, so it was like, no, 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 no. I mean, of course, I've always been a little diva and a little shit, but that's just natural in the Scorpio. But in the same sense, is I always leaned into that space of just knowing there was something beyond me, because I think that's what I was going to ask you next. Thank you for coming back to me, universe, because I almost forgot it. Realize you were so intuitive and in tune.
When did I realize?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you. So I have always been, but
Mhm.
I didn't necessarily like know or realize. And my mom used to always say that she had ESP. That's what she called it. Like that's the wording she could give it. She's like, I have ESP. I know things. And so then as I got older, like I used to kind of feel the same way. Like I just know things. This is really weird. But then I rejected that because I didn't want to be like my mom that was like, I know everything. I know everything, right? That's how she portrayed it. Like, I know, I just know. And I'd be like, you do not know everything. But she was trying to say, like, I'm intuitive. I know things. I can feel things. I see things. But she didn't have the vocabulary for that. So she would just be like, I know, I knew that, and be very much like that. And that turned me off. And I didn't want to be like that. So I suppressed my intuition because I was like, I do not want to be like my mother that thinks she knows everything, but I know everything, you know?
Yes.
So, so at the top of the pandemic, I have a friend in Miami named Nikki Novo. I know her through a mutual friend. She's an intuitive and she does like like medium readings and just like energy readings. Like that's what she did. And I'd like follow her and be like, that's cool. Like I always would say like, I wish I had a gift like that. That's cool, you know, or you just like know things. And she reached out to me at the beginning of the pandemic and was like, I have a course. It's like a 3-month course where I teach people to tap into their intuition, and like you can do readings on people, energy readings and healings and different things like that. And I was like, I don't know. I'm like a life coach now, and I don't know how that's like going to help me in my business. She's like, it's going to be everything for your business. And I was like, I don't know. So she gifted me the course because she needed me to be in there so bad. She's like, we will do some kind of an exchange, but you need trust my spirit team and yours is telling me you need to be in this course. So I took the course, and that course changed my life. It taught me that I'm intuitive, that I've been intuitive my whole life, but it taught me to like know that, accept that, trust that, fine tune that, practice that, love that. And I remember telling her like about my coaching experiences, how I'd be like, I'm like coaching my clients and like, I don't know, I just know what to say every time. It just flows out of me. And she's like, you think that's you showing up to your coaching calls, or do you think that you're like channeling some things, some energy? And I was like, oh my God, it's not even me. It's not even me. And like, was just the game changer for me.
You know everything.
From then on, I would just show up as like the vessel. And before I do anything, before I came on this, I close my eyes and I say like, empty me out, allow me to be a vessel of love and light, and speak to me, through me, and for me. And then I show up, and I just show up, and like it takes the pressure off of me needing to say the right thing and teach the right thing and do the right thing. And I just let the divine flow through me, and I let my intuition guide the way. And so that's when I knew, and I really tapped into it.
It's interesting because the religious component of it actually like was the antithesis to you actually being able to sit into who you are, because as you say, the words that need to reaffirm who you are, that's all programming that you're still shedding from those many, many years of the religious world.
Totally.
And I'm so excited you're going to get to the place where you don't even need the affirmation, because you're going to be able to sit in it. You know you're doing it. So you obviously have a little more to shed of that. It's a deep program. It is a very deep, heavy program. I'm grateful. I'm so grateful, because I think if the program wasn't so deep and so heavy, that we wouldn't be able to, oh God, your people are going to probably read me for this, but ascend to such great lengths.
Yeah.
The harder things are, when you overcome them, the greater the reward. Really simple to put it.
I've been focusing on contrast a lot. It's like, how do you know what you want unless you experience what you don't want? Or how do you know how good like being at a high frequency feels like if you haven't been at a low frequency for most of your life, right? It's like the contrast of it. Like I had to be so in this program to like fight through it to get to this side where I'm like, this is what feels good and right. This feels like alignment. This feels like what I desire and where I want to be and how I want to live my life. But I wouldn't fully know that if I didn't have the contrast of where I was that didn't feel like alignment.
Necessary. It's the key to life. It's not everybody is able to see that and move past it, and they stay in one side of the contrast for a lifetime, and that's just your journey sometimes. Like you need to live in that space and understand that modality, that consciousness, for that like little piece of your puzzle of your soul, right? I'm going to ask you now, because I have a feeling you're going to know. Do you remember being like between 7 and 10 and having an intuitive moment?
I remember between 7 and 10 having an intuitive moment.
People are going to think I'm crazy, but I see you outside. I see you in like a dress. It's like by a tree, and you're talking to something that's not there, and somebody's like, there's nothing there. Something like
you're giving me chills. I think that like a lot of that time is kind of suppressed. So like probably, but I couldn't like tell you off the top of my head, because I think that like I suppressed a lot of that time.
Did you have a sunflower dress?
Yeah.
Yeah. People don't know this about me that I've watched this yet, but my friends know. Things just come through to me. And your dad literally was like, tell her to ask about the sunflower dress. And people are like, everybody has sunflower dresses. Sure, great, whatever. That's just what I was guided to ask you about. I think your dad is saying that he recognized that from a young age with you.
Mm.
And that's the moment he remembers him noticing that the most with you. By a tree outside in a sunflower dress. I feel like it's a hill of some sort. I don't know why or how. You're from Miami, right? But that's kind of what I'm seeing. Sunny day, beautiful.
Hmm.
Anyway.
And I love that. I do remember sunflower dress because like two of my other friends had the same ones and we would wear them together around that age and that time. But I do remember telling my dad, like sometimes I would be in my room at night and I would like the door would be open and this is me young and I would be like, Dad, I swear like I see someone walking through the hallway or like I feel, and he would be like, there's nothing there. And I'd be like, I see it. I know I see it with my eyes. And he would be like, there's nothing there. And it was not like that I was seeing ghosts or anything, but I definitely remember like feeling presences. And I would tell him that I would see them walk down the hallway. And he's like, no.
Did you believe him when he said no? Or do you think he was saying no just to put you at peace?
That for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm wondering like if he was like, yeah, I see him too, or I know too, but I'm not going to tell you that. Or if he's like, I don't, but I know it exists. And it's interesting that you're seeing it, but I don't want to scare you because I'm not fully okay with that. So let's just ease your mind.
Yeah. I can't. That's what I'm feeling too. Because I feel like a smirk in his smile and like a glare in his eyes when he's listening to you. But what you just said is what I was thinking, that he was just doing what he thought would benefit you the most. Well, also too, on top of it, whoa, it's coming. I can't believe I'm doing this on here. I'm sorry.
I love this so much. I'm for it.
It was all divinely orchestrated because it wasn't meant for you to tap into it. I mean, it's such common sense if you really are aware, but you weren't supposed to tap into it till later. It was, if not for those moments without it, would you be able to so firmly and steadfastly really embody, embrace it now? Because back then, with all the questions around you, with your friends and your family and the organizations that you were involved with, it might have actually been more to your detriment. But now doing it on your own and him from the other side, being able to really like be that spiritual guide. Whoa, slow down. He's making me emotional. I'm sorry. What the fuck am I doing on this right now online? Anyway,
I love it. Give me more.
He's just really, really. He's just really happy to be able to be the dad he wants to be for you. And it's weird because he's not here physically, but it's like he's saying he's more of a dad to you than he ever was now.
You're so spot on. It's crazy.
I'm going to stop. But yeah, that's cool.
Listen, I have these moments all the time where I say to myself, like, I'm so grateful. Like, he's such a dad to me now. I'm more connected to him now than I ever was when he was alive. But it makes me sad because I feel like if he was alive, like we would really just, like, the conversations we would have, the connection we would have because of this version of myself. And I know that this version of myself now would be able to pull it out of him to be able to like vocally express it. But then again, it's like, would I even be here if he was still alive?
In short, he wasn't in this physical world. It wasn't possible for him.
Yeah, I know.
I'm gonna stop. Anyway, he's just really proud of you and happy. And the stuff that we talked about before we got on, I just see him. He's like, his arms are crossed and he's just like, that's my girl. Like,
that's my girl. I have chills. That's what I feel from him now. He's like, there we go.
Representing for the family, representing for the Ruiz.
At least we got one.
You're the last one?
No, I'm like the only one that's like in
the right. Yeah.
He's like, we got one.
Yeah. It's interesting. And I'm sorry. First, like I can only imagine, um, even when we can be like, but it wasn't meant to be that way, and like he wouldn't be able to help you. It's still you're human, and it's a part of that. So, hugging you so big right now because I wish he was here for you in the physical to do that as well. But he's here just as much, that. But still, like I get what you mean. I get what you mean. So, just sending you so much love.
Thank you so much. And I've like, if we would be having this conversation like a couple years ago, I probably would be like in tears bawling right now. But I've processed this so much and healed so much and had many like mediums like channel him enough that like now when he does come through, I'm just like, you can see I have like a smile on my face. Like I'm not even emotional. I'm just so happy because I'm like, everything you're saying, I don't have zero questions that he's actually coming through and actually saying those things because I feel it to my core. And I'm just like so grateful and appreciative and that we are where we are.
Round of applause to you because a lot of people can stay stuck in that space and not get over that grief and that longing for that need. I want to say egotistical need to like have that desired outcome in reality that they need so bad to validate the emotional complexity that they haven't unpacked. So they're not even aware that if they were to unpack it, then they could actually be in a better space, and that they're just holding on to something to validate the experience that isn't serving them because they're too afraid of actually moving past it.
Mhm.
It's not easy to do, friend, especially in this world, especially in this place. No wonder we fucking met and I call you my girlfriend.
Don't get me wrong. I have my moments where I'm like super sad about it and I cry but they're so healing for me as well because I like release that and and then I come back to this place of this knowing of what it is. But I have my human moments that like wishes so badly I could have a dad to parent me through this life. Like I so badly want that. And I have my human moments where I cry about that. But most of the time I'm in this like very grateful place.
You're human. So please, please embrace that as
Totally.
much as possible. That's the whole part of the experience. The fact that you can even have that grief and be in tune with that deep, hurtful, hard feeling isn't obtainable in any other space, any other realm, any other reality.
Mhm.
Oh my God, I have not gone like this on any of my things. I wasn't planning on being the weirdo that I am on here.
I am so happy right now.
So, um,
And
yeah.
like it makes sense because like I'm just so like I think someone else might have been like, oh, that's where we're going. And I'm like, just like with a smile on my face, like, what else? Tell me more. Channeling for me. Support your weirdo self.
Yeah, it's just mm, I've I've avoided it for so long, and I finally came like accepted it years ago now. But like really now, just like I'm like, yeah, this is me. It is what it is, and I don't need anybody. I'm in this really weird, beautiful space that is weird for me right
Mhm.
now. I turn 42 next month, so it's right on
Happy,
time, I think.
happy early birthday.
Huh?
Happy early birthday.
Thank you. If I'm blessed enough to live that to that place, amazing. If not, I can truly say that I'm so grateful that I've had this experience and come to the place that I am because I could go right now and I feel extremely fulfilled and I feel like mission accomplished. So,
Mhm.
yeah, if I get to celebrate another rotation around the sun in this physical meat body that I'm in, awesome. And if I have a party, I'm inviting you. You have to come. Um, what was I saying? I got off a little tangenty right there. 40s. Yes. I think this is happening right now for a reason because I'm really embodying, and it's really huge shift for me that I don't give a fuck if you don't like me or think I'm crazy. Really don't. You can't. Nobody for so long. I think from being in the industry since I was a child, knowing that I have to appease and please people and make them like me because not just for my craft, but because of the brand and because of the politics of everything like that. I think I've touched on it before in a couple things, but I completely lost myself in that. And it was more important to make sure, like some mission accomplished, to make sure that everybody liked me than it was for me just to be my authentic self and the right people like me. Easier said than done being who I am authentically in this industry, for sure. But when I'm living in the space and accepting of who I am and why I'm here, that part will naturally just flow exactly how it's supposed to.
Totally. Listen, and I get that. I struggle with that sometimes too. I'm like, in the back of my mind, I want everyone to like me. I want to share my message for the masses. Like, and that means everyone has to agree with what I'm saying and like what I'm saying. And that's just not realistic. Number one. And number two, like you showing up like this authentically as yourself, being weird, whatever. I don't think it's weird. There's like so many people out there that are looking for this, that literally go online looking for someone who can do what you do in the way that you do, and like just show up as that, and they will find you. And maybe it's not every single human on the planet, but it's going to be the right humans that are meant to be your community and meant to support you.
Thank you. Yes, I'm in that space as you. The world wouldn't go around if everyone was supposed to think like me. And trust me, I was definitely that person for most of my life. Really. Like my way is the right way because I'm smarter than you. I see, I feel, I hear, I get it. You don't.
I know everything.
I know everything. And I come from a mother that knows everything too. So I learned that from her.
Yeah.
And it was easy for me to drop into that too. I think for me, because of being so successful in such a young age and getting validation from that in the hardest industry in the world and being at the top of my game since I was a child, it was very easy for me to then lean into all that, you know? And that I think is a part of why I'm exactly where I am right now, is because I had to figure this all out, you know? Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but okay. Before I forget, backtracking a little bit, and again, thank you for sharing that part of you. You came to LA to dance. I want people to know more about you and how you even got to who you are as a right now with your life coaching, and I want to talk about that too. But like, how old were you when you moved to LA to pursue dance and singing and acting and all that stuff? Weren't you on a show? You were.
We don't have to talk about that part.
It's not a part of it all. It's a part of progress.
All right, I'll give you the timeline. I'll give you the story. So I've been dancing since I came out the womb, since I was 3 years old. My mom put me in dance.
You're incredible at it.
Thank you. So are you.
Thank you.
I'm like, no, you are. No, you stop.
Yeah, we'll keep going. This back and forth.
Okay. Dance since I was 3 years old. When I was 7, my mom also put me in gymnastics, and I loved them both so much, but I was so good at gymnastics, and my parents couldn't afford both. And so they said, pick one. And I had picked gymnastics that I had only done for a little bit instead of dance that I had done since I was a baby. So I did gymnastics since I was 7 up until I was like a senior in high school. But I still wanted to dance. So I danced, in high school. Like I went to a magnet high school to dance at school, a performing arts school. So I did dance and gymnastics basically most of my life growing up.
Stop for a second. Are you the only artist in your family, or are there other artists in your family?
No, I'm the only one. Yeah.
Awesome.
So then after high school, I quit gymnastics because it was like you either like keep fucking going and go to the Olympics, or like you go have a regular life. And like I started liking I started liking boys, and like I wanted to like, you know, be a teenager. So I was like, okay, we'll stick with dance because that gives you somewhat of a lifestyle. So after high school, I auditioned for the Miami Heat dancers, and I did that for 5 years. Yeah. And that was amazing. That was just so much fun. That really like was like so foundational to my dance career for sure. I learned a lot there. I grew up there. But my last year of being a Miami Heat dancer, I auditioned for a TV show called Pussycat Dolls Presents Girlicious. And it was like a reality show where the creators of the Pussycat Dolls, Robin Anton and Mikey Minden, were looking for new girls to be in a new girl group. Because I think that like I had like a secret desire my whole life to like be a pop star. So I auditioned for that show. I made it on the show, but I didn't make it in the group. But that's where Pussycat Dolls Lounge came in, because after the show, they were like, move to Vegas. Las Vegas and dance at the Pussycat Dolls Lounge there. And I was like, Miami girl through and through my whole life. I'm like, move to Las Vegas. Like, what am I, a showgirl? Like that, I didn't understand the concept. And I was like, if I'm moving anywhere, I'm moving to LA. And that still feels so scary. But they like were so persistent. And finally they were like, look, move there, you'll make this kind of money, you'll do this many shows, like it'll be really good for you. And then when we decide to open one in LA, we'll move you to that one. And I was like, boom, done, sold. So I moved to Vegas. It was like a really scary thing and a big girl thing for somebody who's been in one city their whole life. And I danced at the Pussycat Dolls Lounge in Vegas for only like 2.5 months. And then they opened the one in the Viper Room in LA. And that's when I moved there. That's where I met you. And then I did that for a couple months, and my dance career kind of just like skyrocketed from there. I was in LA now. I had met people. With an agency. I was going to auditions, dancing for different artists, and I danced for so many artists. I went on tour with Pitbull. I danced with J-Lo at the Super Bowl. I danced for Tyga, Christina Aguilera, Becky G, Chris Brown. Like I did the damn thing, you know? But along that journey was when my dad passed away and sparked spirituality. And from then on, I was like doing so well in my dance career. But also like doing a lot of internal healing, and like awareness was coming to the surface for me. And I, was just on the journey. And right before the pandemic, I really felt like I had like done a lot of healing. And I said to myself, like, this is really cool. Like I've healed so much in myself. Like I've healed like anxiety and depression and just like so much. I want to be able to help other people do this too. Like, I don't know what that looks like, but I think after dance, this is what I will tap into because I like it so much. So then right before the pandemic, I had done the Super Bowl with J-Lo. This is 2020 in my hometown, Miami, like dream job. Like you could have, like my dance career could have been over at that moment. I would have been like, check, check, check. We've done it all.
Yeah.
And then I booked my other dream job, which was Major Lazer. And right after that, and we had rehearsals. I learned the show. I was going to be on tour for the rest of 2020 doing this Major Lazer show, dream job number 2. And the world shut down. And dance was non-existent. Things were not happening. And I went home to Miami to spend the pandemic there so that I wasn't alone and I was with my family. And when I tell you, like, the most uncomfortable healing came to the surface for me to just sit with and be with during this time. Like, I know a lot of people like had fun and they drank a lot in the pandemic. I literally sat with myself and my thoughts and my feelings and my fears and my insecurities and uncomfortable truths that I felt about myself. And I tell everyone, like, I put myself through a self-love boot camp. Like, I learned to love myself in that time because I realized that as much healing as I had done before, I was so distracted with tour, show, travel, people, drinking, this, that, different city, different country, experiencing things and people. Like, how much time did I really have to sit with myself? Like it was cute. I was dipping my toe in is what I realized in the pandemic when it was like, here's all your shit for real, girl. And I was like, literally, like, it was so overwhelming and so uncomfortable, but that is what I did. So much healing in such a short amount of time. I was like, well, after dance looks like today. Okay. Cause what are we doing?
Right.
And I just put myself through the most excruciating healing process. And I, not on the other side, but like, I just swam through some trenches, and I bet other people feel this way too. I think that after dance is now, and what I said that I would do after dance needs to happen today. And I just kind of made a flyer of like, I was like, one-on-one coaching sessions. If you need any help or advice for self-love or mindset or manifestation or spirituality or meditation, like, hit me up. And I put a flyer and I threw my phone across the room. Like, what did I just do? I'm like, what? And people reached out, and little by little, I just was like, okay, wow, I'm really good at this. And that's when I went through the course for intuition course. What are my words? And like, that really was like, wow, I'm meant to do this and I'm really freaking good at it. And I just started a business and I do one-on-one online coaching. I do group courses. I do online courses. I do all the things. And here we are.
That's amazing.
That's my story.
First of all, before I forget, shout out to Girlicious. I used to choreograph for them too, and they were so much fun. And yeah, hi, any of you are watching. Probably Nicole's the only one that watch it. But it's so funny how, not funny, it's so beautiful. How about that part? Just the way that like your journey just moved and was like fluctuating through the places. Like, working with Robin and Mikey was definitely it's something that I never take for granted. Working with Robin all those years back in the morning, and then growing up with Mikey is just, is we're all industry kids, so it's a network that was already, Mikey and I were lucky. We already grew up in the network. So it was just, we were already in it, and so when people come in like you and you get into the network that is so strong right off the bat, it's such a beautiful thing. It really allows you to really have like a flourishing career like you had when you have the talent that you have. You've got to be talented too. And the personality. You are so easy to work with. You are such a joy to be around. Your positivity is infectious. So when you have all of the contributing factors making up who you are, you're naturally going to have a successful career. It's just, there's no other outcome. So hello, congratulations on all that. I mean, you're not done. You're still going to be dancing. You're still too beautiful, young, and not to be, if you want to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, after a little, like a year or so, during COVID, like dance slowly started to come back. And it was so nice that I had created this business that was like, it was like a financial foundation for myself where I didn't need to hustle and do dance jobs to pay rent like I was doing before. And it was like, I have a business and it's successful and it's making me money. And like this dance job is showing up and that looks so fun. And I want to do that.
Mm-hmm. And you can do that doing what you do.
And it's so nice to be in this place where like, I'm both. I'm a dancer, a professional dancer, and I'm a life coach. And sometimes I choreograph, and sometimes I do artist development, and sometimes I assist a creative director. And like, I do all the things, and I don't have to do any of them. Like, I pick and choose what feels really good for me, which is a really nice place to be in, because the hustle and bustle is like, you do not turn down a job because your life and your rent depend on it.
Yeah. And that works in your 20s,
Yeah.
I wish I would have been more like you in that sense of basically having that solid, steady income platform, and then being able to just have that foundation, and then being able to be like, oh yeah, I can do this, or I'm not gonna do this.
That's new for me though. Like, I didn't have that my whole dance career. I had that since 2020. Well, not even 2020 is when I started. So like when I finally like got the business up and running. So I've only had that for like about 2 years now,
But it's huge. I mean, you have 3 years till you're my age. So that would be over like 5 years of having that, right? Yeah. I've always just relied on, I just never expected to be where I am right now. I thought I'd be, on a couple shows or another 5 or 7, 10, 20 films. But that was always one thing when you get older, you're like, damn, how can I just have a steady revenue of income? Because I'm too old to be in that young space of being able to just barely scrape by and get by anymore in between jobs and all those things.
You just start to want more for yourself in your life. And you're like, I don't want to live that way anymore. It actually doesn't feel good or feel like I'm supposed to live that way. Like, there's like, abundance is our birthright. And so I want to tap into that birthright. I want to claim that birthright for myself.
100%. That's necessary. The more that I've done that, the more jobs are flowing again. And, it's on the up and up. And you know what, you can't avoid circumstances and the way that everything happens. I love that I say that so dramatically, like I've done nothing in between these times. I'm trying to do it, like, and there have been things that I just couldn't do, like I told you before we started, right? Like when you start to just really put into perspective. I don't know if I shared this on something or not. Anyways, perspective is key. Okay, I was at a grocery store and someone was checking out next to me, impatient little old man, and the guy was close, and he was like, "I'm sorry, sir, I'm close." Like, yeah, but can you just take me? And he was like, "Sure." And the lady that was checking out already with the gentleman that had his closed register, was like, "You are such a good man. You are something good is going to happen to you for doing that." And me at the other side, when that guy left, I was already next. I was like, "Cool, great." I thought to myself, "God, I do shit like that all the time. When is good shit going to happen to me?"
Mm.
And that was a mentality that I grew up with, learned from family and such. And I think from so many years of just not being where I wanted to be, and also taking for granted all that I have done because it was so innate as a child that I didn't really take myself out of it to realize, like, hello. I instantly, because of the growth I've been doing, I started my spiritual journey at 26, close to you. 27, maybe even. It might have been 27, which is close to our Saturn returns, which makes sense for most of us. And it was such a quick adjustment. It was like, oh, the work is paying off. It was like, what kind of false narrative are you living in right now? You are so blessed. The people that love you are some of the most incredible people in the world. The amount that the universe blesses with you without all the other shit you're concerned with, like the real shit, you are so good. And when I was able to tap into that, that was this year, like genuinely, because I think throughout the process, you can touch it, you can taste it, but I was able to fully digest it
Mm.
in that moment, embody it.
Mm.
Yes, the rest of the year was just like, it's flowing, right? I think it's key perspective. And it's not just the perspective, it's actually the acceptance of it and the embodiment of it, which I'm sure is what you teach in your courses, is what will turn the money and all that into like real life, tangible manifesting.
Totally. Well, like the embodiment comes with like the practicing of it, right? It's like you practice it enough, you digest it enough, it becomes second nature, it becomes who you are. And like that's the embodiment of it. But yeah, I was gonna say something else, but I forgot what it was.
It will come back if you're supposed to say it.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking the other day too. I had a friend back in the day, and we are doing something, and she was like, "I don't have anxiety for it." I was like, "I don't have anxiety," and I look back, I'm like, I have so much fucking anxiety, like just all the tools and everything that I was using to avoid self and being present because it was so more important to be positive and all those other things. But yet, was I really being that? No. And also, look, we're young. We don't know any better. We're living our life. We're learning. Our 20s were all about growth and learning. So what do you do? But to have somebody like you to be accessible to that is so important. Like someone in their late teens, early 20s, even 30s, 40s, 50s, any age. But I always say, I wish I had somebody that saw me and understand me like I do back then, because I probably would be ruling the fucking world, you know?
I say this all the time. I wish I had a me. I wish me now. I wish I had me then.
You know what's fucked up? You had you this whole time.
It's me that knows this.
Yes, yeah,
knows,
yeah.
has this knowledge and is this version of myself. I wish I had this version of me then as a mentor to help me get to here, because I did it all by myself. Not all by myself. Like I also I missed this part, but like I hired a life coach. I was like, whoa, that looks cool. I would like see it online, and I hired my first life coach, which really was what showed me like, oh shit, that's what it looks like to help people. That's the career, that's the job I didn't know existed. And seeing her do it shows me that I could do it. I like what she's doing. It's working on me. Like, this is cool,
100%. One of my best friends is an extremely successful life coach now, and she started from nothing to something with it. And that's what's been inspiring me throughout the years to finally just kind of, because probably like you innately, I've been that voice for not even just my friends, but people around me, probably too much. People call me Tony Robbins because I can be real fucking blunt. I see that people are not ready to hear, and I'm not even trying to be mean. I've learned to kind of maybe pull back a little bit, but with age, I think I'm just getting even more, make it worse with it, just in being like, this is it. What do you want?
And my clients tell me that I'm like the most loving bully they'll ever be, because I am blunt. I'm in a loving, a really loving, like graceful, supportive way, but like I'm not gonna let you sit there and like lie to yourself, and I'm not gonna like hold your hand and baby you to your next step. I'm like, okay, yeah, cry, feel your feelings. Amazing. This is so good. This is so good. Great. And when you're done feeling that, like we're gonna go over here and move to this. Okay. So feel that as long as you need to. Okay, great. You know,
Yeah.
I get it. And like, I'm not going to like, I'm just not I'm not a babyer. I like when people push me. So I'm a pusher, push people.
You're a Virgo. So yeah. Yeah. You're like, we're not going to do this shit. We're just going to call it for what it is. And I think that's great because, like we said, everyone's made different. Everybody needs different things. And I love that the right people are finding you because you get to be that for them. You get to, at least in some really beautiful way, be what you wish you had for somebody else. So many more people. And you're changing lives. Was it hard for you to accept for me, it was hard to kind of lean into this authentic version of myself, that's been this way because I felt guilty for then utilizing my natural gifts. But then I didn't feel guilty about utilizing my natural gifts in the industry that I've been naturally gifted to work in. I didn't take dance class. It was that kind of, did you ever feel that type of feeling?
No, I don't think I ever felt guilty. If anything, I felt like I felt like, because I have been a dancer my whole life, and there came a point while I was like in LA and like really booking things, like it was amazing and it was great, but I always had this feeling of like, yeah, but I don't think this is my ultimate passion and purpose. Like I feel like there's something else. What is it? What is it? What is it? And I would get frustrated because I would see all my friends were dancers, but one of them wanted to be a choreographer. So on her downtime, she was choreographing all the time and putting videos up. And my other friend was a dancer, but she also wanted to be an artist. So on her downtime, she was recording music. My other friend was a dancer, but on her downtime, she really wanted to be an actress. So she was taking out acting classes. And the other one wanted to be a comedian. Everyone had their other thing that they were reaching for. And I was like, all I have is dance. Like, what is that thing for me? So I think that when I found it, I was like, here it is. Like, here we go. It's like, I was like, yes, finally I have my thing and I can go balls to the wall with it. I didn't have guilt. I was like, finally, here it is.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Yeah.
God, I'm like all your friends into one.
Yeah.
All of that shit on top of everything.
Yeah.
And then I think, because sometimes I'll have that conversation. I was like, what the fuck did you do? Oh, I did all of that all the time. That's why I don't have any savings, because I invested in my career and myself in a handful of things. And my old manager back then was like, you have to be focused on one thing. I was like, I'm not that person. I can do everything, and I'm like, God, I really kind of wish I would have just focused on one thing, but I actually don't, because my other friend Jamie, we were talking about like jack of many trades, but master of none.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's the other thing, which is I can't say it, but there's the other side of it. When you work on all of them, you have to be basically essentially mastering all of them. Anyway, she said it really great to me the other day. She was like, yeah, but now you're a master of many. And I was like, God, yeah, you're right, I am. I worked really hard, but yes, I received that, and it was worth all the hunger.
And I don't think that like anything ever happens on accident, right? Like I feel like at some point you're going to use all of those things in your ultimate passion and purpose and fulfillment. Like they're all going to be so important to you. It wasn't for nothing. It wasn't a waste. Like you didn't spend your savings just to dip your toe in a bunch of things. Like they're all going to come together in some beautiful divine way that's curated just for you and your purpose and your fulfillment. And you're going to be like, now it all makes sense. That's why I'm so good at all these things.
Thanks. I feel that. I feel it more than ever, actually. And I don't really abide by the rules of like timelines and lineages of like specifics or the way things work and business wise and ethic and just all that stuff, because I'm here to create my own reality. And if anyone's going to make it different or change the narrative or change what's normal, that's me, because I'm just showing up the way that I am. So who knows? Maybe I'll be 45 and still be a pop star, have like a #1 album, or like.
I see you on Broadway. That's my vision I'm having.
Thanks. Everyone says that they have my whole life, and I was always like, I fucking hate Broadway. But I think it's because for me being the Scorpio that I am, that it was hard for me to, live your best life. I'm talking about me, so don't try to come for me, people. I appreciate people that are on Broadway because you are extremely talented. I'm not degrading who you are, but that wasn't the way that I really wanted to express myself. I like to go deep on film and like tackle those demons, or, I don't want to bust into song and talk about like me rolling through the hills. I want to talk about like the heartbreak or the mental distress and have that type of emotionality in it, not like
So write a Broadway play about that. Write a Broadway play about that.
That's exactly what I should have been doing, and I have been kind of doing, but I need help doing, but I'm doing. Yes. And I've come to start to fall in love with others that are more along those lines. Like, I was lucky enough to play Unsavia on Broadway and in the film. So in the Heights, love it. Great. I could absolutely do something like that. I really like Hamilton. At least I like a lot of the music. Periody stuff is kind of like weird for me, but point is like, yeah, to your point, I don't know where the fuck I'm going with this mumble jumble verbal diarrhea. I am more open to it now, and I think it is about producing and being that, because, yeah, I mean, I still I still want an EGOT one day though. I really do. And people are like, "How are you at 42? What the fuck are you gonna EGOT?" I don't know. I'm gonna still keep working on it though.
What's EGOT?
Emmy, Grammy, Tony.
I'm like, what's EGOT?
All of them.
I love that for you.
I'm still alive, so who knows what's going to happen. But I keep those intentions and those goals inside of me because it's what fuels me to go forward. Helping people like you are doing is absolutely something that's innate, and it's really fulfilling. And I'd love to have a business of like going on retreats and like doing that whole thing. Has always been my end goal. Like you're talking about, like, what's my next thing? So mine in my mid 20s and early 20s was like, my next thing is to be the actor or the pop star. I already had 12 years of successful dance industry, like career. We're past that already. So I always imagined myself like 50 or 60 having like retreats that are funded by everybody for like the people that are less privileged, and they have alternative methods of healing and tapping into self and discovering themselves, helping people ascend, giving back to the world, spreading the light and love. And now I'm like, oh, maybe that can be sooner. Or maybe this is just a part of that progress to getting there. I only have probably like 42 subscribers right now on this channel, but who knows what that's going to look like in 10 years. So starting the process now is what I'm trying to say, like what I said to you. So you'll have your podcast up next week by the first episode. Like, you got to just start.
And you will have your Broadway show up and running.
Yes, I know. I need help though. Any writers, just please help me. I mean, I just really need help. I've done everything by myself for so long. I'm in this space of being like, I need partnership. I need people to collab with. I've tried to get on my own.
Call it in.
Yeah.
Test it.
1,000,000%. They're making their way to me right now. I mean, I have a film that is going to be on Broadway as well. Like, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. And I've had written and created for over 5 years now. And I've done as much as I can. I've shopped with some big people and gotten great feedback, but now it's like, okay, people keep saying they want at least like the pilot or the first 30 minutes or something written, so it's easier to get. Well, writers, I'm calling you in right now, and I have been, because I haven't been able to figure out how to balance the time of hustling and surviving and still pursuing my dreams.
Yeah, it's not.
And also have time to devote to like writing that. Life has not been easy for me.
I know it's hard to balance it all.
So I'm calling it in now instead of trying to figure it out.
Yeah, call it in.
Is that what you're teaching?
I'm teaching a lot of things. I'm teaching everything. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm like actually like in a transitional phase of my business, because up until this point, I do one-on-one coaching, like with private clients, but I also do like online courses, and I have a bunch of different courses that I've taught already that are like evergreen now. You can like purchase and watch and have forever. Sometimes I'll do like masterminds where it's like group coaching programs. I do like workshops and master classes, just a bunch of different things, but it wasn't energetically sustainable, because I felt like I was hustling and forcing and like, okay, need to create a course because need to pay my rent. Okay, cool. Like, universe, what's the course going to be? And then I'm like, okay, it's going to be on this. And then I need to create the course. And then I need to sell the course. Then I need to teach the course. And when that's over, I'm like, I got to do it again. I got to do it all over again. Mm-hmm. And it was like this like constant anxiety and force and push, and like it wasn't sustainable and it did not feel good. And so I was like, I'm tired of doing business this way. Like there has to be a better way. I actually do not like this. It's not fun for me anymore. And so I kind of just was like, universe, I literally am taking my hands off it. Show me another way, because this is not it. And interestingly enough, whenever I do that with my business, it's like, here's this dance job, here's this choreography job, here's this artist that you got to do artist development for. Oh, look, help Mikey put a Vegas residency together for 5 weeks. And here's this, and here's that. And I'm like, cool, like, okay, cool. So now I'm like coming back to my business with like a break from the hustle and bustle. And I'm like trying to figure out like, okay, how am I going to create courses in a way that doesn't feel like forced and pushed and feels pleasurable and joyful and easy. And I always say easy, fun, and flowy. Like easy, fun, and flowy. Easy, fun, and flowy. Like that's what I want my business to feel like. And so if it's not that, then I'm not going to do it. And so, yeah, I'm in the process of just like figuring out what that is, what the next iteration of my business is that feels easy, fun, and flowy.
I love that. I love that it's flowing to you too as we speak, and it's flowing to you previously so that you can even start that up. Maybe a podcast is part of it.
It's definitely a part of it.
I mean, I don't know where the money comes from yet, but we'll figure it out eventually. I mean, I'm fucking viral on TikTok or Instagram. I have like over 6 million views, and I didn't make any money off of that shit.
Really?
Yeah.
You're promoting then your podcast on your TikTok where you get millions of views.
Yeah. Well, no, it's on Instagram is where I've been doing it. I have more actually there, which is weird because, it's usually TikTok that you get more views. Mm-hmm. But no, you're right. I have not promoted my podcast on TikTok at all. I know I need to do that. And that's actually my goal this week because I have off this week. I go back to dubbing next week. So this week has kind of been like, I don't have to hustle so hard trying to make money doing all my side hustles. I'm in San Diego and I can just get more of this scene, I guess.
I'm preaching to the choir. Like I always say, like you have to post everything that you post on Instagram on TikTok, and then I just don't.
So. It's a lot. Well, it takes a long time. I'm not some little kid at home. I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, kind of, but not really. Like it's a lot of work.
I know. I know.
To eat. I have to work out.
I know. No, honestly, like. I'm like been trying to eat healthier. And so I'm on like, putting myself on this like specific nutrition plan and like eating healthier and cleaner. I swear to you, all I have time to do every day is I wake up, I like meditate, and then I'm like, okay, gotta make breakfast. So I make the breakfast. I eat the breakfast. Then I gotta wash the dishes. Then I go work out and I come back. Then I make the lunch. I eat the lunch. I clean the lunch. And then it's like a couple hours. It's like dinner. And then I got to make the dinner and I got to eat the dinner and then I got to clean the dinner and then my day's over. And all I did was eat and clean all day.
Yes.
That's all I have time for, it feels like.
And it's such a vital part of the industry. Like I've thankfully been on it because just intuitively, naturally, like you say, I just flow. So I know my body because for the last few years, I was like, I'm going to be fat, gorda. I'm going to eat because for so long it's such a discipline to be in the industry, right? You have to. You're booking how you look, and I never understood how these people did it because they look so good. But anyway, for so long, I was like, you know what? I don't care anymore. I'm going to do what I want. And now I'm like, okay, great. I got that out of my system since for having to do that for 30 plus years, it was not the easiest thing. But now I'm in the space again now where I can intuitively already just know naturally like how and what I'm supposed to eat when I'm not supposed to eat it. Like I'll be like, oh, I really want a cake today. And my system will be like, no, actually, that doesn't sound good. Or it'll be like, yeah, you can have a cake today. And then I'll eat it and feel so guilty. I'll be so mad at myself still. And then it will be like, oh, but you were fine, actually. You could have had that cake because this week is good. But just to stay in shape is what I'm trying to say. People don't realize that is a full-time job in itself.
I feel like I have a full-time job.
It is.
Eating healthy is a full-time job. And then it's like every other day, it's just me here. So like I can't buy bulk groceries. They go bad. So it's like I'm at the grocery store every other day buying more food to eat and cook and eat and clean.
You know how expensive food is right now too? How expensive food is right now even? I get so envious of all these actors that have like really rich partners and just get to go to acting class and eat well and get in shape all day. I'm like, where is my husband that will do that for me? And then all these years I'm asking for it, and then every time it's like, we gotta do it for your damn self. I'm like, okay, already, please. Then it happened. But it is really difficult, and it's hard because then you don't look like that. I don't look like, and I'm also older, but still, like, that weighs on you. And I'm trying to be like Jason Momoa and be like, I'm only in shape and getting in shape or in the gym when I'm getting paid to do it. But I'm not Jason Momoa, so I can't really live like that yet. But I'm trying to find that balance.
Listen, we do it all for ourselves now. We struggle to create these habits now, and like eventually then we can have a chef that'll do it for us and a personal trainer that will come to us, right? It's like, but you have to like build to there. You have to get there, and you have to like create the habits now and maybe struggle a little bit now, and then building to that life, and we will get there. I'm going to have a chef, and I'm going to have a trainer, and I'm not going to spend my days eating, cooking, cleaning all day because it's going to be done for me. Receive that.
I mean, I've been claiming that for a really long time. Been manifesting that in my journal for like since I was in my 20s, but that's okay. That's, I guess, the easy part of it. We're over an hour, so I don't want to take too much of your time. But I think to kind of like circle around to what we're talking about is like all you can do is really just accept the timeline that you're on.
Yeah.
In that meantime, just keep growing, keep doing the work, and keep being optimistic and shifting that perspective, because in all due reality, like you said, your dad passed away out of nowhere. We're not guaranteed this next moment. So if we're so consumed with all these other things and we're not just being present and enjoying the fact that we're breathing and that we can move and that we're alive, then what is this all for anyway?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Mic drop.
One more question. Did you ever face rejection as a gymnast or a dancer that pushed you to like take it to the next gear, like you're feeling right now, take it to the next gear in your self-coaching?
Yeah, it's interesting that I kind of skipped through this part of my story, but
back. Your daddy called it in. I was like, oh, this came out of nowhere.
Remember how I said like I had like a secret dream to be a pop star, which is why I went on the Girlicious show.
Why you were in my group?
Yeah. In the midst of my LA journey, I've been here for like 15 years now. There was like a little pause in my dance career, because I like had this secret desire to like be a pop star and be in a girl group, especially. And I would put like every little penny that I had towards taking singing lessons, because like I'm not the greatest singer, but like I'm good. Like I can harmonize, I can hold a note, you know what I mean? But like I wanted to be great. And there was like all these auditions for girl groups, and there was like GRL was happening and Girlicious was happening and this girl group and that girl group and all these different girl groups. And I was like, this is what I want. And like, I'm cute. I'm a great dancer. Like I'm a pretty good singer. Like why am I not in any of these groups, And so I put like every dollar I had towards singing lessons. And I was like, really, right? I promise you that I auditioned for like so many girl groups, like many. And I got rejected by all of them. Even one was like my friend's girl group. And like before audition for it, I would like support them and I would be at their rehearsals and I would like secretly learn their songs, and I auditioned for them, didn't pick me, and nobody would pick me. And then finally, like that led me to be like, okay, I'm putting all my pennies to singing lessons and all the things. And I'm going to do this. I don't care about your rejection. Like this is going to fuel my fire. And there was one girl group called BG5 at the time. I think they were even like on an episode of the Kardashians once. So I knew who they were. And one of their girls left the group. And so they were looking for another girl to fill the group. This was after me auditioning for many girl groups and getting rejected by all of them. And I went to audition for them and they were like, okay, like we danced together, we sang together, and they were like, you are really good and you blend so well with us. Like, wow, we're so impressed. Like, you're so good. And I was like, wow, all the other girl groups were like, you're not good enough, And this group was like, you're everything we've been looking for. You're perfect for us. And they immediately like put me in the group, and I was in that group for a whole year. Like we would record music, we would perform at like different places and travel and like make music videos. Like I did it. I conquered my goal ultimately at the end to be like, I actually don't like the music industry and this is not what I want to do. But I fulfilled that goal and that desire and that dream. And like, it was the getting rejected by all the girl groups and being like, I don't understand. I'm like the perfect candidate for a girl group. Like, I don't understand why no one's picking me. And it was because I wasn't meant to be in any of those. I was meant to be in this one where I was valued and cherished, and they thought I was amazing and I was an asset to them, as opposed to like, I'm not supposed to be in these where they don't think I'm an asset and they don't value me. Like, that's not the experience I wanted. So yes, I definitely was rejected, and that led to me ultimately fulfilling that girl group fantasy.
I love that you were able to tap into that though and still feel that and figure that out for yourself. Like, could have been timing too. Like later in life, you're like, oh, this, yeah, because like you said, the music industry, ooh, that's a whole beast. It's really, it's crazy.
I was like, actually, thank you for this, but never mind.
It's really a lot. Look at your journey just unfolding naturally how it's supposed to.
Look at it. Look at us.
Look at us. It's just unfolding with the universe and its timing.
Easy, fun, and flowy.
Fun and flowy.
Easy, fun, and flowy.
Easy, fun, and flowy. So, speaking of easy, fun, and flowy, one last question before I let you get back to your illustrious pop star life in your own way. If you could sum up the experience of rejection into reflecting on it today into one word, what would that be?
Purposeful.
You were quick with that shit.
Like, rejection to me is on purpose. It has a purpose. It is for a very specific reason. It has a job. It has a purpose. There's purpose in that. Very purposeful.
It was on purpose right now to give me a soundbite and a reel.
See?
Yes, it really is. And if anybody can attest to that, it's you. So I'm proud of you, friend. You're doing fantastic.
Thank you. I'm proud of you too. I love that you just followed your intuition and started this podcast, and you're continuing to follow your dreams for acting and all the things. And it's not easy out here to keep trucking, but we do. So proud of you.
Likewise. Thank you. I received that. When you say that, it's funny. I'm kind of like, God, am I going to keep doing this? But then I'll watch a TV show and I'm like, I am doing this shit. So I think it's just the ebb and flow of
course. Same, my business, I was like, I can't keep doing this like this, but this is my purpose. This is what I'm supposed to do. This is my dream. This is what I'm good at. This is my divine assignment. But I can't keep doing it like that. And it's like, just take a step away sometimes and come back to it with a different perspective, with more energy, with more clarity, Doesn't mean that actually, someone told me this once. It was like, do you drive your car and then be like, I got to fill it for gas? Like, maybe someone can come next to me and pump me while I'm driving. No, you have to pull over off the side of the road, turn your car off, take the key out, get out, pump, fill up. And when you do that, then you can get back in your car, turn it on, keep driving, Yeah. Sometimes you have to take pauses and you have to re-energize and refocus.
A lot of pauses for me were kind of in terms of maybe derailing me from then the objective and the goal throughout the years, because of the hardship, because of the struggle, because of the not having the endurance, so to speak, or feeling guilty for then taking a break or a pause and all these things. But just everything you just said is exactly what it feels like right now. More recently than not, the last couple of years, it's maybe even this, I'm going to say just this year. How about that much? Something finally was just like, do you just accept the fact that this is who you fucking are already? Just let go.
Stop fighting yourself.
Stop fighting it. Just let go. This is because it's easy to get discouraged. It's like, even to want the things that I still want and be at this age and still maybe far from it, but maybe not so far from it. You know what I mean? You don't know. But I think when you can just, whatever that is for you listening, for you, Jamie, for me talking about it, just let go of it. Just know, if you've listened to your heart and you've been working at it, if your instincts and your heart flutters when you're doing it, and you can accept that it's just a part of who you are, then just accept that and see what happens next. Keep working on it. Trust me, there were years when I was doing manifestation, because I started this whole manifestation thing when I was like 27, reading all the books and all the things, all of those things. And there were years where I was like, oh, I'm just going to stay here like this. I'm going to do nothing because it's going to come to me. And I learned my lesson. because they teach you that, but that's not really it. It's tricky. It's not
Yeah,
as easy as you think.
not as easy.
Intentional. You still have to do the work. And once you get to this place of which we just spoke of, which is just accepting full-heartedly what you want to do and who you are, then you can be still. But that stillness doesn't mean you're not still doing things toward it.
Yeah. Sorry, we keep going, but like
Okay.
for me, I think that lesson was like fully owning my desires, because there were things that I wanted, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, you shouldn't want that. Or maybe
Yes.
you're too old to want that. Or is it realistic to want that? Like, look at the timeline. Like, that's not really going to ever happen for you. So I never fully owned my desire, where I was like, I want this, period. And I'm not ashamed of it. And I'm not doubting it. And I'm not fearful of it. Like, I'm owning it. When you can own that, the universe is like, there you are.
Yes.
Now all of you is online, because if not, like, you're sending two different rockets of desires at the same time. You're like, I want this, but, and universe is like, which one do I give you? The wanting it, like this dream life, or the doubts and fears that you have for it. So you just stay in this middle place because it doesn't know which desire to feed, So when you can get all of you on the same page and be like, sorry, I don't know if I can curse on here or not, but
You can.
I'm owning this desire. This is what I want. This is what I desire. And maybe I have fears about it, and I'm going to work on those, but I'm not going to have to want it, because that's not, all of you has to send one clear signal to the universe about what you want.
Yeah, you can't feel guilty about it. And it's really easy for guilt to seep in, but everything you said is exactly spot on. Yeah, I have had rockets going all different directions.
Yeah.
When I'm like, I believe it, something will be like, no, but that was all just me learning to just that next piece of me that I needed to accept and own, right? To then just have that singular rocket saying, and here we go. I'm doing that right now. You do that right now, right? Like, let's fucking go. Let's do it. Let's see what happens. I know what I want. I know what my intentions are if this strike ever ends. Just got word today that it's not. What day is it today? That we're recording this on the 12th of October. But I know
like, one thing that I learned about manifestation is like, don't look at the things that are like roadblocks. And like, one of my dream jobs that I booked, the major laser one, I for so long was like, I'll never have that, because I was blonde at the time, and there was already a blonde girl on there. And they're like, I was like, there can't be two blonde girls. And eventually I then had pink hair and she had orange hair, and we both were on it together. And it was like, that roadblock doesn't exist anymore. Right. Like, and so like, yes, there's a strike right now, but don't let that be a roadblock. Like, okay, that's what's happening right now, but what about if it ends tomorrow, and then like already have momentum going towards the thing you want, so that when that roadblock moves out the way, you're right there.
It's exactly how I feel. I'm really excited about what's ahead. And the strike for me, I think, is necessary. It's just like the world happening right now. All these crazy things happening is because there's an adjustment that needs to be had. Sending love and compassion and light to everybody that needs it.
Yeah, right? Absolutely.
Especially you. I love you.
I love you.
Did you want to say something else? You were going to say something. I don't want to stop you.
No, I didn't want to say anything. Should I just tell everyone like what my Instagram and my website is, so they know where to find me?
Absolutely.
You want to come listen to my podcast that hasn't been made yet, but maybe will be made by the time you listen to this episode?
Yeah, this is going to take a while to come out. So yes, do it. Yep.
Okay. All my socials are at James Lee 4. That's JamesLee and the number 4. My website is www.jamieleeruiz.com. And those are like the two best ways to find me.
What is the 4 for?
My birthday is September 4th. It's just my favorite number.
I love that.
I always throw it in there everywhere. Just a little 4.
Yeah, it's a good number. I mean, they're all good, but do you see 4-4 a lot, or 4-4-4?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what that means? What that means? I forget.
I just always go, ooh, alignment. Like, I don't know which one means what, but I'm like, ooh, alignment. Ooh,
they all mean that at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly.
I even go to the gym and pick lockers that are open that are like that intentionally, because I'm like, oh, I'm in alignment today. I'm choosing that.
Same. I'm like, ooh, 22. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Ooh, 44.
The best when you get receipts for orders and stuff too, when you're already feeling the vibes, right? You're already like, this feels good. And then you get a receipt and it's like, order 111. You're like, yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Or like all my pricing for my like courses and stuff, I'm like $111,
Yes.
$22,
Yes.
$333.
That is pure magic. I'm glad you're doing that. That's going to keep bringing it into you.
Yeah.
Keep it up, my friend.
Thank you.
Keep it up, girlfriend.
Yes. Thank you so much. I love you.
I love you too. And
what a good catch up.
Great catch up. Great catch up. And everybody, thanks for listening to our catch up and listening again to another episode of Rejection and Reflection. And if you haven't subscribed, and I know we'll leave a little video after this to tell you, I'm going to say it again. Subscribe, like, share, and comment. Spread the love and go out there today and get rejected. It's going to serve you. Until next time. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, like, and share. But most importantly, go out there today and get rejected, you beautiful rejects. I am Gustavo Victor Carr, and this is Rejection and Reflection. Until next time.